ERC and ETI to plan the new and upcoming Renaissance Park that we wanted them to engage the public. So we have no preconceived notions about what's going to happen at Renaissance Park. People keep asking me, what's going to happen at Renaissance Park? And I keep saying I don't know because we haven't had the public tell us what's going to happen there yet. And we're serious about that. The only thing we know is going to happen there is a small area of skateboard park, because the skateboard people came and said, if you will give us an acre of land, we'll go raise the money. We thought, well, that's a great deal. So we know that's going in there somewhere. But other than that, we want y'all to tell us what you want. And Doug will lead this meeting off. And I want to give a little brief history real quick so everybody can know where we are and where we come from and how we got to this day. In 2005, the city of Hernando had a few parks, but no formal parks department. Our public works department took care of our parks. So, you know, they did the best they could with the money we had, and they did okay, but we thought we needed to ramp that up a little. So the board authorized the hiring of Dwayne Williams. Dwayne, raise your hand. He'll talk to you in a minute. Dwayne has been our first and only parks director for the city of Hernando. So in 2005, we actually started a formal parks department. And also that year, Milton Kirkendall gave us the old high school football field and track. And through volunteer efforts, we brought it back together in the Hernando Youth Football League, whose president is sitting back here right now, Ernie Cleveland, started running that football league on the property that the Board of Education gave us. And that's been working out really well. We have a good partnership. The parents run the league. We take care of the field the best we can. The problem is, and we'll all admit to this problem, that field gets played on too much because we don't have enough land. We're playing soccer and football there, and the field doesn't ever get to rest. But everybody's patient, and they know we have these issues. So that's one thing that happened in 2005. And then we just spent $140,000 in grant money, putting a new track down there. And you'll notice I say grant money because we didn't have any city money to spend on that. So that's something that's happened. We got all this new programming going on. We got soccer in the fall, soccer in the spring. We got youth basketball that's running at a very high level. And if y'all notice, we don't have a city gym. Y'all seen a City of Hernando gym? There isn't one. But we have this incredible partnership with the Board of Education, because it's silly for us to build a gymnasium when there are 4 of them in town already that the school owns. So we go play basketball in those gyms, and it works perfectly. It keeps us from having to double up on our tax money. So that's going on. We do a lot of things in this building. Our senior citizens meet here. Our brightest exercise, ballroom dance. And I know Dwayne knows 100 other things that happen here, and I'm just forgetting them, and he may tell you about them. But we kind of gone from, you know, low idle speed to 60 miles an hour in just 7 or 8 years. But we're in Hernando, and we all want to be at 100 miles an hour. But it all costs money, and it takes a little time. But that's why we're here tonight. We went to Renaissance Bank about 2 years ago. The economy tanked. Banks have been taking land away from developers like crazy. It's a sad thing, but it's what's happening. And Renaissance Bank ended up with this land. And so we had a very frank discussion with Renaissance Bank, and we both agreed they would be sitting on that piece of land for 10 years before anybody even thought about building a house on it. And so we worked out a deal where Renaissance Bank would give the city of Hernando that land in exchange for naming rights. So forever, that park is going to be named Renaissance Park, and the city got a piece of land that we couldn't afford to buy. So that's why we're here today. We have this land, and that's all we have. We don't have any money, we just have land. But we can't plan until we have a plan. We can't budget till we have a plan. So the whole idea behind hiring Doug's team is to get input from the citizens, and we have quite a bit of input already. We did a parks needs survey about a year ago now, and we had over 600 families participate. And for a city the size of Hernando, that's a huge statistical sample. We kind of know what people want based on that survey. But we didn't think it was quite enough. We wanted one-on-one interaction. We wanted groups to come in and tell us what they would like to see in the park. So once we get, and the bigger picture is, we have some other parklands. And I'm going to use an example so ludicrous that y'all won't think that I'm saying what's supposed to. Let's just say that we knew up here in this piece of parkland we were going to build a checkers facility. Well, we wouldn't want to build a checkers facility down here on Renaissance Park. So while we're here, we're going to kind of plan what we want all our other parks to have on them in the future. Because if we're going to put it somewhere else, we don't want to put it here too. We don't want to duplicate our efforts. So we can't plan Renaissance Park without planning our whole park system. So this is the start of that tonight. And am I turning it over to you, Doug, or to Dwayne next? No. And this is Doug Thornton with AERC Architects. Speaking of that, I'll give a little bragging on why we've hired them. There are 2 LEED certified buildings in Hernando, and one of them is his office, and one of them is a building he designed, which is Southern Bancorp. So we think we've got some cutting edge thought process here. The other good thing about Doug and his firm is Doug lives in Hernando and pays taxes. So whatever he designs, he will make the most efficient use of his design knowledge because he's going to be paying for it along with the rest of us. So I do want to make note that our Parks Director, Dwayne, is here. Alderman Lauderdale is here. I saw Alderman Higdon here somewhere. And Alderman Manning's on his way. So we have representation from the city here. But we are here to listen. We don't want to get engaged in the conversation tonight because we just want to hear what the public has to say. So Doug is going to facilitate this. And thank y'all for coming.
Thank you, Mayor. It took a lot of, summarized everything I was going to say much better as only a politician can do, so that'll save us some time. But as he said, one of the first steps we're doing is backing up, looking at the whole citywide park system. We're going to look at where parks are located in relation to population densities, walking distances, driving distances and times, that type of thing. On this map, this little red square, if you can see it, that's the square. You can see there's a lot of area that has no parks right now. So we're going to be making recommendations, talking with the aldermen, talking with the mayor. And some of these things may be 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years out, but let's at least get a plan and a direction so we can all start thinking towards that. The other thing is connectivity of parks to population centers, as well as as the mayor said, we don't want to duplicate. We want to be very smart about our tax money since it is very tight, and you want to make the best of it, whether it's grants or anything else. We want to be smart with where we put things. This is what I've put on the top is just our very first step of starting to identify what amenities are in what parks. And I'm not going to go through all of that. Most of you, if you're in Hernando, you're pretty familiar with the parks that we have now. Of course, Conger Park probably has the most amenities of all of them. We also have the track football fields that you're familiar with down at the old high school. And, in some regards, the Gale Center can be considered a park with community gardening. We have a field, so there's a lot of opportunity there, as well as the community center here that we want to continue to enhance for all citizens, from seniors all the way down to preschool. And so, this is just the first step of identification. As we continue, and I put that up there because I want to encourage participation and input. If you live in a certain area and you have something to say about your park or lack of park or something you'd like to see, where you are, ideas, we want to be all ears. We want to hear that, and I want you to kind of get out of the box of just Renaissance Park and think total city. Think community. Think, what can I do to make my community a better place to live, not just for me, but for all the citizens here. Let's all jump in together and make this a better place to live as we're moving forward. This is a site plan of the Renaissance Park area. If you're familiar, the baseball fields are kind of down in this area now. The old lagoons that are in the process of being reclaimed into usable land is a contract that's already led, and it has some requirements on it for environmental reasons, and that will probably lend itself most to some type of field sport. We can't put a lot of pervious surfaces on that. We need the rainwater to continue to flush through it, and so there's some requirements there. But it's still a lot of land, and it's still very usable for park-related functions. Most of what we're going to be focusing on is kind of from this line up. Walk over here. I don't want to let the right-hand people slide in. From this line up to Highway 51, which is over here. Okay, thank you. Is where we're primarily focusing. As Mayor alluded, we have a skate park, 1 acre, somewhere in this, 50-something acres, is that where we are, Vince? Yeah. So somewhere around 50 acres, one of those acre squares somewhere in this region is going to be a skate park. It hasn't been nailed down yet. We've got some ideas, but you know, even I don't want to have too many preconceptions yet. We want to see how this thing develops with a lot of input. There are 3 lots along 51 that Renaissance Bank has maintained ownership of, but we'll have a landscape, nice drive coming through that, and then the park itself is in this area. As the mayor talked about too, we want to be environmentally friendly with this development. We want to save as many trees as we can and still provide for the sports, you know, restore habitat, those type of things, make it friendly for dogs, make it safe, you know, make a nice, comfortable walking trail, all of these kind of things. So, you know, that's the kind of things we're going to take, all the input you have, filter it through those parameters, and start to design this park based on all that. I think the way we really want to proceed from this point, I just want to give you a brief overview, and then I think Dwayne's talked to some of the groups. I know we have a lot of groups represented. Before I do it, I'm going to let somebody do a video, PowerPoint, but the way we're going to do this is if each group has kind of a spokesperson, kind of let you talk in front of the whole group for a couple minutes. If you can keep it to a couple minutes so everybody can hear big picture ideas, we'd like to do that. And then from there, we've got several areas split out where each group, like we've got a baseball group, a skateboard group, whoever, will help organize that, and our team will kind of split off with you and take more detailed information, input. But I really think it's important for the baseball people to hear what the skate park people want, and what the senior citizens want to hear what the walking trail people want, so that, you know, we're all in this together. I don't want to become too fractured with it. I want us all to be in this together and try to pull us all together to the same goal of having a park that everybody can live with. And, you know, they say about universal design, one size fits all means nobody's happy usually. We hope we're not going to be there, but we do want to get, you know, address everybody's concerns as much as possible. So you want to come do your video piece and give us just a minute to take